when I did that, it clanked, the prop stopped so violently. I was just like, okay. My engine failure, you know, basically flying home from Boise, Idaho to Reno puts you over some of the most remote stretches of the United States you can get as far as having no services. It's over 300 miles that there's not really anywhere to divert to or anything. And I was just cruising along, crossing a smaller mountain range. It wasn't, jagged cliffs by any means, but a definite mountain range at about 500 feet. Heard a little buzzing noise, and I was listening to music at the time, so I was like, is that in the music or in my prop or the engine? Went and pulled the throttle back, which in hindsight probably shouldn't have done. Don't touch anything. When I did that, it clanked, the prop stopped so violently. I was just like, okay, there's no restarting that. I'm not even going to try. So I shut the fuel off, left the master on, so I had my trim's electric, and then just picked somewhere and went for it. And it was interesting because prior to that, I've landed my plane uphill, downhill, sideways in every different type of terrain, every different type of wind, every environment you can possibly do. And I've shut the engine off and thrown the keys in the back and landed with no engine. I was as qualified as you could possibly get for that kind of scenario. And when it happened, it scared me more than I thought. It was weird that my immediate impulse thoughts in my head was like, this is what it feels like before you wreck your airplane. And I was like, is this what it feels like before you die? And so that's when my head starts spinning on, and then I start feeling like lightheaded, and then I'm going through this like, dude, if you faint right now, you're dead. So I'm like flexing my abs, trying to push blood to my head, and like thinking of get your crap together, man. So I ended up landing with like a 15, 20 mile an hour tailwind going downhill. So I touched down fast and had to push it onto the ground because I was running out of real estate. Milked flaps out, kind of riding this high wheelie, trying to get pressure on the mains, and it all worked out. But prior to that, I had modified the engine. I had full confidence in the engine, blindly, and I learned a lot in that moment. That I see a lot more value now in a factory-built, reliable engine than going a little too experimental. And again, I'm someone that flies over desert and pretty landable terrain, but I just have this whole new respect for reliability, and I will gladly sacrifice performance for reliability now, which prior to that, I was a performance guy. And so, yeah, it was an expensive little lesson, but I learned a lot, right? Lessons cost money, good ones cost a lot.